Hello,
Hello, welcome family.
welcome back to another episode of Fear It's Out.
I'm Renee,
I am Kyrie.
and I want to say again, thank you for all of you all who have subscribed to our YouTube channel.
Mhm.
And I would like to also say, thank you to all of those who have left, comments, concerns,
Mhm.
questions, things of that nature. And
And
thank you for hearing us out.
yeah, thank you for hearing us out. And it's been like a week since our last episode or so.
Mm-hmm.
Last week I was feeling kind of under the weather,
Yes.
and then when we finally got around to recording the episode, the computer went blank.
Right.
It operated, some meager operation
Right.
that eluded us both. So
Right.
we were like, yeah, we'll just do it. We'll do it,
You know.
at our normal time
Right.
next week.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're sitting here, and I'm sure you might be able to hear the heater and stuff in the background. We're sitting there bundled up in blankets and stuff
Right.
up here in Chicago.
Right.
It's cold.
Yes, as far as we are
As far as
concerned,
we're concerned,
it's cold.
it's cold.
For others, they're like, "Oh, this is another
Yeah, this
another
is
day in the park."
normal day.
Right?
I
But
don't
for
know. I don't
us,
know what degree it's supposed to be, but it's cold.
yes, right.
But yeah,
So here we are, and this episode, we're just gonna have a conversation about the state of affairs, I
yeah,
guess.
because we were thinking about all the things that we've been talking about,
Mm-hmm.
anarchy, power, governments, war, people, stuff.
Afrocentricity.
After the very first episode,
Yep.
we've just been thinking like, what else? What else is there for us to talk about? What
Mm-hmm.
else is there for us, to discuss? And we
Mm-hmm.
were like, not really anything in particular. All the
Right.
particulars we think we've covered
Right.
until we're able to come up with something else
Right.
comes to us. But now it's more over just the overall feeling
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
is permeating has been permeating our entire discussion.
Right. And for me, I normally just become an emotional wreck. Just thinking about the state that we are in,
Mhm.
and it does. I do get emotional, about it sometimes, but I understand that those are the breakthroughs, I guess, and I've been having a lot of those, a lot of those lately,
Yeah.
and so here we are
Hmm.
again, and another week, has passed, and we've had, other things to happen. And as much as I talk about, having that shift in perspective and just looking at things, differently, recontextualizing, just trying to have a better understanding of what's going on, you know, it seems as if those old tactics, they tend to just, they pull me in sometimes, and I do get, frustrated. I mean, it was just a couple of days ago. Today is the 6th, I guess.
Hmm.
Just a couple of days ago, a young man was killed by police in Texas,
Mm.
and basically there was some type of domestic dispute that was going on, between a couple, and he
So,
saw.
so practically the same thing that happened in Wisconsin. There was some type of domestic dispute.
Right, and so this young man, he saw what was going on. He was just trying to just quell the situation. Well, police come out, and well, he's black, so apparently he's the aggressor here,
Hmm.
and he was tased. Police tased him, and like when you're tased, you hit with thousands of volts of
Yeah.
electricity.
Normally that's enough.
Yeah, and well, the thing is that it was enough, but your body convulse and do those type of things, and so then the police fear for their lives because his body was convulsing from
In
being
pain.
hit in pain, and so they shot and killed him.
Yeah.
And so it's those type of things. I'm like, see, I'm getting, those type of things happen, and it's like,
And that's what it always comes back to.
mm-hmm,
Like all the times. I'm just, so at what point am I supposed to be doing?
right,
Right? How many times have we
right,
said you have to be wary of how you're contributing and how you're feeding into the cycle and
right,
stuff like that? And how you think you're going out, but you're being pulled deeper in.
right,
And but then something like this happens,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, okay, at what point is this me?
Right.
At what point is this my responsibility
Right.
here? Am I culpable?
Right.
Because it seems like, every single time
Mm-hmm.
one of these things happens, you know, it's not because, oh, I was doing something that led me deeper in.
Right.
I was, I'm placing blame, I'm creating a monolith.
Right.
That just happened.
Right.
That is real.
Right.
You know, another black man, another innocent black man
Mm-hmm.
is dead
Right.
because of them,
Right.
what they're doing.
Right.
Right? And you want me to say, oh, they're victims.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to have that presence of mind? No,
Mm-hmm.
he's a victim.
Right. Right.
The police are murderers.
Right.
So you want me to have this presence of mind? You want me to have
Yes.
all this? But they're the ones. And here we go again.
Yeah. Here we go again. Right.
And like we've said, like hundreds
Mm-hmm.
of times, probably at this point, is that we're not saying that no one's at fault.
Right. Right.
We're not saying that that the police aren't at fault, or that
Mm-hmm.
the murderers aren't murderers.
Right.
And that's not the case. No, we're saying that these things are happening, and they have been happening for a very, very long time.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Police brutality, today, in our past was, something else. It was you got to step off the sidewalk when the white man comes.
Right.
You have to say yes sir, no sir.
Mm-hmm.
You can't look at him in the eye. You
Right.
got to use a different water fountain. You got to,
Right.
use the back door when they get to use the front door.
Right.
Sit at the back of the bus. All that, superfluous stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, it was,
You're running away.
sharecropping.
Right.
You
And
know,
you're running away.
It was sharecropping. It was literally, it was slavery and stuff
Right.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say that before
Right.
sharecropping
Right.
was slavery,
Mm-hmm.
but what was sharecropping? Other than,
Right.
just another form of slavery.
Right.
And these problems have a legacy.
Mhm.
And when we say like you're feeding into it, is that you're helping this problem to shift,
Okay.
to change form, in a sense,
Mhm.
to where you're not solving it. Is that it's no longer going to be what it is. It's
Mhm.
going to become something else.
Right.
So we're not saying that you can't address police brutality. That
Mhm.
you can't say, what you're feeling, that
Mhm.
the police are at fault here,
Mhm.
and that they're the ones who need to be held responsible.
Mhm.
We're not saying that.
Mhm.
We're saying that when you look at the form that our, what would you say, resistance has been taking,
Mm-hmm.
the protests and the rioting and stuff like that. We've seen all this before.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen that before. And then we've seen what they're rioting and protesting against
Right.
before.
Mhm.
We've seen all of this play out
Mhm.
time and time again. And we think, that it's only because one side is at fault here.
Mhm.
And it's like, what in trying to solve it, you make it easier for that thing to elude justice.
Mm.
Like, this is the same problem that we've been dealing with for a very long time. If we want things to change, then yes, they have to change, but maybe we also need to change how we're addressing the situation.
Okay. That's fair.
And we need to change, how we're looking at the situation.
Mhm. So how do you, we know that we are in a precarious situation, okay? Because these killings that are happening, okay, they are happening while we are asleep.
Mhm.
They're happening while we're watching television or playing a video game with the nephew. You understand me?
Mhm.
These are, you know, These are extremely normal activities that we are engaging in, and then these things are happening. So, how is it that we are to engage any differently when we are not
really engaging at all?
correct?
When I say engage, I'm not saying
I
that,
know what you mean. I just wanted right.
yeah, I'm
Mhm.
not saying that you can't play video games or
Right.
you
Of course.
need to play video games differently or
Right.
conduct yourself in your own home differently. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm
Right.
saying is that when you go about trying to address this situation,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
it always takes this form.
Mhm.
It always takes this form.
Right.
And we always end up right back here.
Mhm.
At some point, we need to ask ourselves, why? Why is it that we are constantly dealing with this? Throughout our entire history here in America,
Mhm.
we have been dealing with this.
Right. And the easy, well, a straightforward answer could be, is that, like you mentioned in episode 4, is about this thing called profit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned in one of our discussions, that's probably not even that we didn't take, we just talking,
Yeah.
That maybe last week, 2 weeks ago, there was an article that was published in regards to the cost of racism in this country, how much it has cost this country, how much it has cost us,
Mm-hmm.
okay, in this century alone. It has cost $20 trillion. That's how much it has cost us.
Mm-hmm.
Racism. And I mentioned that, China's entire GDP might be $20 trillion, and it's taken them 70 years to even get to that point.
And you know the name of that article?
I don't know the name, but I can just Google, because it was just something that's just coming across my mind right now. Okay. And so it cost us our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Really. That's what that's what the cost has been for us to be in this position of where we are not treated with dignity, humanity, just outright simplicity, decency. And I do know, but I'm going to say, I don't know, you know, why, we haven't responded differently. But then again, we would say that we have responded in a myriad of ways, okay, to change our position. And we're not talking about taking away from them, just to simply to be treated as human beings. What isn't that we have not done? And that's, and it's, what is it that you want? Okay, you want us to, you know, engage differently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We have. We have tried to engage differently on our terms.
No.
No, listen to me. I'm just saying. What I mean by that is that at every step, okay, we've been told, it's because of race, education, poverty. It's been because of something that there's been a need for us to be treated the way that we have been treated. And so, what is it that we have done? You know, we've tried to, educate ourselves out of this, legislate ourselves out of this. We've tried everything.
It's not everything.
Well,
That's, as far as I'm concerned, one way. We've tried to meet their standards at every
yes,
rate.
right. I just said, okay,
So
even
that's one way.
that's okay, fine. And so,
We've tried a million different ways to do that one thing, but it's always been that one thing.
even the walking away,
All of it.
you know. So, my take is that, and I remember this coming up one time before, why is it that, we just aren't good enough? Like whatever the decision that,
Mhm.
you come up with, that we come up with,
Mhm.
why isn't that good enough? Why is it that whatever the decision is, it's always met with no, except, but, it's not
Mhm.
ever just okay. It's always something else. It's always not good
What it
enough.
is.
Yeah,
It's always not what we want.
right.
I would say it's because we are fighting from underneath.
Agreed. Yes. Yes.
And the entire metric, the goal of the game,
Mm-hmm.
is to not be underneath,
Right.
right? But
Correct.
the one way out of this cave, as far as we know, out of the hole,
Right.
is to climb up out of it, which
Right.
means to put ourselves on the same position as those who put us in the hole.
I don't draw that.
Look, it may not be on their terms.
No, that's not. That's not what
It
I'm
may
going to
not
say.
be on their terms, but that's what it is.
Mhm.
They are levying their power to put us here.
Mhm.
We need to be able to galvanize and levy our own power to take us out of this position.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Is that we need to be on a level to where their power will not be able to put us in the hole. Right?
Right. Okay.
They
That's fair. Mhm.
should not. They should be made incapable of being able to denigrate and oppress us to this level.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And we need to levy our own resources, whatever they may be,
Mm-hmm.
to make that into a reality.
Okay.
To
I'm following.
make them
Right.
incapable.
Right. I'm following.
Right?
Mhm.
And like I said, but that metric, that aesthetic has been defined for us. We, like you said, we've been using legislative power.
Mhm.
Legislative power in a system that we did not create.
Correct.
We've been using educational power in a system that we know serially disenfranchises and fails us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We've tried to use economic power.
Right.
Right? In a system that has tried to cut us out, and that does its best to rob us
Right.
of such.
Right. I just mentioned $20 trillion.
Yeah,
Right.
we've joined their military.
Right.
And we know that the military is broken.
Mm-hmm.
We've done everything.
Mhm.
We have our billionaires. We have our PhD students.
Mhm.
We had our president. We have our senators and our congressmen and our representatives. We have our generals
Mhm.
and our soldiers and our admirals. We have
Right.
all of that.
Mhm.
Why are we still here?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, we will say that we haven't been galvanizing and or using that power properly. Right?
Some would say that.
We
Yes.
need to
Yeah.
unite and have do that
Right. Mhm.
But I say
Mhm.
as long as we are doing it by their aesthetic,
Right.
as long as we're doing it this way,
Wait. Correct.
it doesn't matter what end you reach, what position you get,
Mm-hmm.
how much power you galvanize. It's always going to be this.
Right.
You know?
So to remove yourself from
So
this.
to remove yourself is there's nowhere you can go where you're not going to deal with it.
I agree.
There's no
When I
such
say
thing as
remove,
removing yourself.
I'm not talking,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
That type of removal.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, just my word is to retreat, to pull back, to withdraw as much as as you can. That's what you do you know, instead of sending your children into a system that is going to miseducate them. Okay? You pull your children from that.
But it has to be more than that.
Yes, I agree. Because I've heard many times, that, well, I have to send my children to school. They have to do those, and so we have to create something for our children so that they're not walking into the lion's den.
And moreover, if you were to start home, it has to be, you have to define that metric.
Correct.
It can't just be schooling at home.
Right.
It has to be something different.
Right.
Something tailored toward their own individual growth. It can't be about trying to get the grade, trying to pass the test, trying to go to college, doing all that stuff.
Correct.
We have to define that metric. That's what I'm saying. You can do all that if you want.
I
but it's
agree.
Still the same game.
Right.
It's still the same game.
When I say like I'm using the school thing.
Yeah.
Okay. When I say to pull back, to retreat, to withdraw, and you're teaching now, or you're working with other parents or educate, okay, that you all are doing something completely different from what has been put
outside.
Yeah, outside. Yes, that you are doing something that they're not just. I don't know what they're doing. What a lot of these school districts are offering in regards to, it's just school at home. I don't know what's going on, but you're doing something that really caters to your children psychologically, emotionally.
Be able to produce a different type of education, a different type of effect.
Right, and that's with your economics. That's just building relationships. I don't even think that we have the kind of just relationships, to do something so wide and so broad. And what I mean is that I look at how we deal with each other. There's a lot of angst among us. And so when you have that, it's hard to talk about, working with other parents or working with other people, to probably create like a co-op school or something to that nature. And so for many, when you say, the withdrawal, to pull back, is a kind of isolation. I think that many of us may not be prepared for, because, for as maddening as this is, that's currently out there, it is a social system nonetheless. It involves people and communication, those type of things. And so when you're talking about, withdrawing and retreating, it seems as if, you're closing all your doors and, you're acting in isolation. So that could be...
Let me ask you this. If people say, well, I'm not homeschooled.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Is not feasible for me. Right? I'm not doing those things.
Right.
I am here. Right? And I am doing this.
Right.
I am in the hole. Right? How do I solve it from here? How do I deal with it from here?
What's the problem that you want to solve in this hole?
I want to not be in the hole anymore.
Okay. How did you get in the hole?
I was born in it.
You were born in the hole.
I'm black.
I'm black. Okay, so you want to just come out of this.
It's not adjust.
Okay.
That sounds reductionist. I don't want to just come out of this.
Right.
I don't want to have to deal with this anymore. I want to get out of the hole. Right? But all these other things that you're saying, about regrouping or homeschooling and stuff like that. That's not something I can do.
Hmm.
Right? I have a job. I can do this. I do that. Tell me from where I am right now. How do I get out of the hole?
I don't know if you're going to be able to just get out of the hole unless you have resigned yourself to this is it and this is all that I can do.
You keep saying just.
I know. I'm about to say. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying because you can't. Well, you can't. I mean, you can't say that
So you tell me there's no solution for where I am? That there's nothing I can do from here?
you can do what a Jay-Z did, what a Oprah did. You could do.
I'm asking you.
No, I'm just. I mean,
Hmm?
you know,
So you're telling me that there's nothing I can do from here?
if you do you. I mean, do you like how things are?
No.
Okay. Do you know why things are the way that they are?
Yes, systemic racism.
It's systemic racism. Okay? You understand that because of the system that's in place,
Mm-hmm.
you know why you're in the situation that you're in.
Yeah. It's impossible for me to not be in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you come out of racism?
I'm asking you. How do I come out of racism? How can I do it from here?
Do you want to be what they call it, like a is it fat slave starve free? Is it fat slave starve free? Or
Asking me if I want to be well fed and oppression. I don't
do
want
you
to be
want to be comfortable?
oppressed.
Well, the thing is that if you don't want to be oppressed,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so now you have to change, retreat. You can overthrow the system.
That's
You can comply with the system.
so you're telling
Or
me,
you-
like I said, there's nothing I can do from here other than regroup, retreat, and do all that other stuff, right?
I mean, or you can just simply walk the. You can simply just do, you know, what others are doing and hope for the best because that's what this is. You know, it's the luck of the draw, and it's you know, it's not. It requires you to simply just trug along.
Mm. Like I said,
Hmm.
you're telling me
You
that
can't.
there's nothing I can do from here.
You can remove yourself from this, but if what is it that you what is it that you want
I don't want to be in
from
a
us?
hole anymore.
I know, no, I know. I'm just saying, if the system is racism,
Yeah.
domination,
Mm-hmm.
oppression,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want that anymore,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to have to step away and create something else. You can't, you know, you can't. How is it that you? How do you plan to live, under oppression, unless you want to be in a constant state of
I
maneuvering?
don't
I
want to
mean,
live under oppression. I want to get out of the hole, but I want to be able to do it from here. So, like I said, you're telling me there's nothing I can do from here. I'm basically asking you,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the subtext here,
Right.
I'm basically asking you, how can I change it from the inside?
Oh, you can. Oh, okay.
Right? If I'm
You
asking,
can. In a nutshell,
Mhm.
that has been tried already.
Has
This,
it?
well, we have had, you know, black people.
Mhm.
I can use myself as an example here.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I went into education. I wanted to become a teacher.
Mhm.
You know, that was my chosen profession. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I thought that going in, that I, can change some things. But I took it
Mhm.
from just my classroom.
Yeah.
Like, these are the things that I'm going to do in my classroom, and that's it. And I'm going to fall on this sword, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And the longer I was in education, started to realize as well. I knew that pretty much early on that the students weren't the problem. It was the adult, it was the adults, and working with them,
Mhm.
uh, the state curriculums and things of that nature. I didn't follow practically. I didn't follow any of those rules,
Mhm.
and that kept me in trouble. That kept me in the principal's office, and I'm thinking that, you know. You're seeing what I'm doing. You see how and I'm thinking that I can improve it from within.
Uh-huh.
And I just had to up and quit one day.
Mhm.
Up and quit one day because that's not how that works. It's just no.
I disagree.
You think you think I changed it from her?
Well,
I eventually did.
I can't say if you
Right, of
change
course.
it, but I don't. It depends on what you feel. If you think you weren't able, then yeah, you weren't able.
Well, it's just
What I'm saying is
there were
that
some things that I did, for my class or when I was a literacy specialist. Some
Mhm.
things that I did that the district picked up. Different
yeah,
things
but
like that. But
what I mean by what I mean when I say I disagree
mm-hmm.
is that you say that it's not possible. I think that it is.
Okay.
Mhm.
This is interesting because we had Barack Obama, who was the president.
Mhm.
Okay. What was the change from within?
Well, was he trying to change from within?
Oh, so that's what it is. So if you go in trying to change it,
No.
no.
Well,
Okay.
not just like
I
not
keep.
just that.
Okay. All right.
Look, how can I say
Uh
this?
huh.
How can I say this? We have to know who we are unequivocally
Mm-hmm.
if we want to be able to change who they are,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that's something that can be done anywhere. Gaining knowledge itself.
I agree. Now, because I remember a conversation that we had one time before, and I mentioned that I, I feel that a lot of the issues that we're facing is from we have an identity crisis. Like, we don't know who we are. And so if
Well,
how is it that we can confront,
I wouldn't say that we
we
don't
couldn't
know who we are. I will say that we don't know how to be who we are without this, without the oppression, without the struggle and the pain.
mm-hmm.
We don't know how to be independent of our issues, of our pain.
Okay.
We don't know that, but we know, who we are.
But I think that pain is a part
Yeah,
of who
it's a part of it. But what I mean by, we don't know if we were,
mm-hmm.
like I said before, in the culture episode,
Mm-hmm.
if you were to take away our struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
In its tangible form,
Right.
right here, right now.
Uh-huh.
If you were to, take away, systemic racism, police brutality, take all of that stuff away, you know, all those things that are indicative of being black,
Mm-hmm.
right? Would we still be black people? Would we still
Mm-hmm.
be a black people
Mm-hmm.
as we know it? And I said no,
No. Mm-hmm.
right? Because a lot of who we are is defined by that, by having to resist and survive under and with that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you were to take that away, then we would become something else,
Okay.
right?
So is that
But the
okay?
question is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, how can we be a black people? How
Mm-hmm.
can we be what we know we are
Mm-hmm.
without the pain and the struggle as
Mm.
it is now,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, the adjacent statement, that I said before that is that if you want to change them, then you have to know who you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, just to allow me to, to answer the second
Right.
question. The first part, remember when I told you about, Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For those who don't know, there's a show, there's a cartoon, the Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's about a kid who has to save the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has the world's out of balance.
Right.
Fire Nation is oppressing everyone, is
Right.
taking over the world.
Mm-hmm.
I need to stop them,
Right.
right? And to do so, he needs to go off and train and do all these things, all that stuff. And he does all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And at the end, he's confronted with a choice.
Mm-hmm.
He has to, the world's out of balance because this man known as Fire Lord, his egos run out of control. He's taken over the Fire Kingdom
Mm-hmm.
and he's lost his mind.
Okay.
And everyone around him is telling him, "You're gonna have to kill this man.
Okay.
You're gonna have to kill this man."
They're telling
Right?
the Avatar.
Telling the Avatar
that he has to kill this
in order,
Fire Lord.
in order to
Save the world.
in order to save the world, in
Mm-hmm.
order to reinstate balance,
Mm-hmm.
he's going to have to kill Fire Lord.
Okay.
Right
I know
now,
where you're going. I see it already.
you have this monk,
Uh-huh.
who's the Avatar, who's like, I don't kill.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that I don't do. It
Mm-hmm.
is not in my nature. It's not who I am. I can't. I won't.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's around him was like, "You're the Avatar.
Right.
You have to.
Right.
You have to. You have to."
Mm-hmm.
And he has such a crisis of faith on this that he ends up going off to this mysterious island, and he ends up speaking with his past lives, all the previous avatars, asking them, "What should I do?"
Mm-hmm.
And all of them are telling him,
Gotta kill.
Look,
Right.
look,
Right.
bro. I
Gotta
know,
kill this Fire
I
Lord.
know
Right.
that this isn't something that you're supposed to do. That
Uh-huh.
you're a monk and you've been taught not to do this. But that place that they can go, that the other monks can go, you can't go there
Right.
because it is your responsibility
Mm-hmm.
to be intrinsically connected to everything else.
Okay.
You have to reinstate balance, not just for you, but for everyone, which means you're going to have to sacrifice your own personal integrity, your own personal balance
Mm-hmm.
to be able to reinstate it for everyone else,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's hearing this and he's like, I'm going to have to kill him.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have that. There's no other way. I'm going to have to kill him. That's all I can do.
Right.
Right? But then he's shown something by a very ancient and powerful creature, shows him that there's another way.
Mm.
There's another way.
Mm.
But in order to go this way, to change, this man, to provoke an irrevocable, immovable change in him, he himself must be incorruptible, immovable.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be who you are. So you have to know it so intrinsically.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be it.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you're going to be able to move him, is the only way you're going to be able to change him, bend him, is if you are unbendable.
Right.
So he shows him this technique. Like, all right, bro. Here you go.
Right.
It's not a fight his own. He's fighting the Fire Lord.
Right.
He's fighting him. He beats him. He has him down. He can kill him right there.
Right.
Take him out. He can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
He just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he has him down. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He goes for option C.
Right. The option C. Right.
And he's almost overtaken because the Fire Lord in himself is a man of indomitable will,
Mm-hmm.
who himself will not be bent.
Right.
And he almost takes this man, the Avatar almost loses himself entirely
Mm-hmm.
trying to bend this man when he could have just killed him.
Killed him. Right.
Right? Could have just killed him. But he refuses to sacrifice any piece of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He is like, I'm going to have my cake and eat it too.
Right.
I'm going to be able to reinstate, worldwide balance and also keep my own personal balance.
Right.
I'm not sacrificing a bit of it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right? And he overcomes
Mm-hmm.
this man. He bends this man. He takes this man's power away.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He does the unthinkable. He saves the world.
Mm-hmm.
Without killing the Fire Lord, without doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
He created his own way. That's what I mean. And I like that it's a cartoon show, but the principle is the same.
Right.
If you want to be able to move someone else, to bend someone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be able to do that, then you yourself, like I said in the
Have to be
in the Brothers Karmazov
right.
episode, you have to paradoxically yourself
Right.
be unbendable,
Right.
immovable,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have to know that. It's like, I remember when we talked about this, and I talked about rap music,
Right.
right? How a lot of people talk about what rap has become today,
Right.
and how it's not what it was,
Right.
and all that good stuff, especially you and Daddy.
Right.
These two old heads I'm with. This is not what it was, and it used to be about, empowerment, and it was what we did, it was about us, it was trying to heal and help us, and all
Mm-hmm.
that good stuff. And I remember saying that, you can't say that this isn't what rap is.
Right.
Right? Mainly because that part of, rap history that was about, us
Mm-hmm.
and our culture and stuff, like, that's like a blip.
Mm-hmm.
A blip
Mm-hmm.
when compared to, because the lion's share
Right.
of rap history
Mm-hmm.
has been about, all the superfluous, money, I'm the best, whatever stuff.
Right. Right.
That's what, a majority of its history,
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's been about.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then we get so upset, and, all these, they're appropriating our culture, they're taking it, they're doing all this. And I remember I said that, see, they wouldn't be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't be able to appropriate if it was really ours.
Right.
If we really knew if we really knew who we were, they wouldn't be able to replicate that sound. Evidently,
I agree.
Evidently,
Yes.
that sound isn't very us.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really us. If it can just be easily taken and stolen or whatever, and I say
Right.
stolen, in
Right.
quotations.
Right.
But I say we didn't stole it. We gave it away.
Mm-hmm.
We gave it away. Why? Because we were bendable.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
We were bendable.
We talked about.
Yeah, we talked about this before.
Yeah.
We were bendable.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't immovable.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
When it came now, like I said, they're in control of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
They're setting the pace. They're in control of the aesthetic. They're doing all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because when it came time for us
Mm-hmm.
to stand our ground,
Right.
to be immovable, we came up against another immovable force,
Mm-hmm.
who in itself was bound and determined to move you.
Right.
And what happened?
You moved. Mm-hmm.
You bent.
Mm-hmm.
You broke. You were corrupted.
Mm-hmm.
And now you see what it is now.
Right.
That's the same throughout all of our history.
Mm-hmm.
All of our history, every single time we have had to deal with these people, it's come down to they want to move you.
Right.
You want to move them.
Right.
Right?
Right.
How are you going to do this?
Right.
You need to be, but every single time we've moved, we've been pushed, we've been bent.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And again, as it's a while, they just stronger
Stronger?
than us? Are they just
Right.
better than us?
No.
No.
No. Mm-hmm.
They're not stronger. They're not better. They're just more certain.
Mm-hmm.
They're just more certain that when you are confronted with the choice, you're going to move.
Right.
Because you don't know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You can't convince the white man that this world isn't what it is,
Right.
what has been shown to be.
Right.
That is nothing more than just a hopeless black hole
Right.
that is going to sap away all of your hope and dreams and your happiness until it is going to bang and bend you into what it needs you to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to use you and throw you away.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the world is. That's how you get ahead.
Right.
You can't tell him that that's not what the case is.
Right.
You want to know why?
Because
every single time
right.
you keep bending.
Right.
You keep moving. Because you don't know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You've sacrificed pieces of yourself to prove that you can exist inside of their world instead of being immovable, unwilling to sacrifice a bit of who you are to exist in their world.
Right.
No, you're going to have to come and exist in mine. And I won't give up a piece of my integrity. I won't give up a piece of it to exist in your world. Right?
Agreed. Yeah.
But like I said, we've been embarrassed. We've been beaten. We've been hurt. And now we have a chip on our shoulder. We have something to prove. Like I said, this is where all of this comes from. All of this anger, all of this comes from. Like I said, if we would have had the fight, like as soon as as
1865,
slavery, right then and there, if we would have had the fight then, if we would have had the fight then, all of this would have been dealt with.
Right.
But we didn't.
Right.
So now we feel like we owe y'all. We feel like we owe y'all an asshole.
That's right.
And we know in our soul
right. Ooh,
that we could give it.
Right. Right.
But we don't. We don't.
Right.
Because we aren't those people.
Right.
We just don't do stuff
that. Right.
like that. Well, not to other people.
Right.
We'll do it to us. We don't tend to conquer other people.
Right.
But we'll conquer ourselves. Right? Like I said, we are bendable. We haven't chosen who we are. Right? We've been resigned to what we've been made to be in this. Right? Even beforehand, before we ever had to deal with white people, we were still being bent, this time by ourselves. Right? By the kings and queens of old. And like I said in the war episode, we know where kings and queens come from.
Right.
They don't come from compromise. They come from domination.
Correct.
That's where they come from. The fact that we had kings, we were kings and queens long before they ever came, isn't something you gloat about.
Right. Right.
That's indicative of that. Oh, we had problems too.
Right. But we don't. I told you,
we don't make that leap.
Right.
I'm just saying that we were bendable. We have been corruptible. We have not chosen to be the people who will not give. 1 inch, we won't give. White people haven't made that decision either.
Right.
It's just that they don't have. See, we're very internal. We could do it to us. We can't do it to them. For them, they could do it to themselves and to everyone else.
Correct.
They don't have that logical leap.
Right.
They don't. They don't do that.
Right.
We have to. We have to make that logical leap, and we don't. We haven't made it.
Right.
And I'm not saying that we can't.
Right.
We just haven't.
Right.
But when someone does, then you're going to be locked onto a path, onto that cycle that is going to, like I said, take you deeper and deeper in. We can't say we're incapable. That's why we're here.
Right.
That's why we're still doing this. That anger that you feel when the white person, when the black person, like in Texas, the white person, black man who just been killed by a police officer. An anger that you feel comes from because that this isn't an isolated issue, and it's more. It's a personal insult every single time. It's a challenge. Every single time. Like, what makes these people think they can get away with this?
Right.
You know, we need to show them that they can't
Get away with this. I agree.
We feel it deep inside of our heart.
Mm-hmm.
We need to show them. And we know how we want to show them.
Right.
We know exactly what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we're trying. We're trying.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all you ever end up doing.
Right.
Why? Because as long as you're doing this way, as long as you have to go to them,
right,
you don't have any ground to stand on. You don't have anywhere to plant your flag.
Right.
So you need to know who you are unequivocally.
Mm-hmm.
We as Black people need to choose to be who we are.
Mm-hmm.
If we say that we aren't murderers,
right?
Mm-hmm. If we're not liars, we're not thieves.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that, then we don't do it.
Right.
Period. Point blank in a discussion.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That's what we need. If we say that, we want, to create our own schools, we want our own infrastructure, we want our own whatever.
Right.
Then that's what we need to do.
Right.
That's the people we need to become.
Mm-hmm.
If we say we're not going to go that way, then we're not going to go that way. Not because we haven't made that leap yet, but because we won't. Right. Because that's not who we are.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
We need to plant our flag. We need to be it where we are.
Mm-hmm. And wherever we are.
Wherever we are.
Right.
And we need to make it real.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we want to be, like I said, I don't want to do this because I don't want this to happen because we beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Or that, we conquered them. I want this to be over. I want us to get to where, we want to be because we were right.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were right. We proved we were right. Mm-hmm. Not through them, but through us.
Mm-hmm.
We were right. That's why this ends.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, slavery didn't end because it was wrong.
Right.
Slavery ended because it wasn't profitable.
Correct.
To everyone.
Right.
It was too profitable to them boys down there.
Right.
Not profitable to we getting left behind.
Right.
Something has to give here.
Right.
Gotta go.
Yeah. You can't compete for free.
Yeah. You can't compete for free. Right. You can't compete for slave power no matter what the quality you're able to produce.
That's right.
That's why. And it didn't end because it was wrong.
Right.
We never got to prove that it was wrong, and that we're still dealing with it again and again and again because we haven't proven that it was wrong. We haven't been the people that can prove it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
we haven't planted our flag.
Right.
We haven't chosen to be who we are.
Mm-hmm.
To be the people, like we said, that we always should have been.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't planted that flag. How can we possibly move these people?
Right.
How can we possibly, do anything? How can we plant our flag? How can we win this revolution, this rebellion of ours?
Right.
If, as far as they're concerned, they're playing against their own.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing against us.
Right.
They're playing against the people who's going to have to move when they move.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to have to respond to this. We're playing their game.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing them. If we're down here in the hole, right?
Right.
Then we're going to then do it in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Make them come down to us. Like I said, when we look at, when we were talking about reparations one time,
mm-hmm.
and you had said, the single Black mother, was living on her own and struggling to pay her bills and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't need reparations.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't need that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, and I said that, well, if she was being paid a livable wage,
right?
If she wasn't, being gypped at every corner,
right?
If she was being paid the way she was needed to be paid, if she was being paid that way, right? Would she still need reparations then?
Mm-hmm.
That's like you said, it's a cultural shift,
right?
We are in the hole. We're in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time we try to come out of the hole, we do it by trying to get to their level and trying to do it their way.
Mm-hmm.
I say, shift the game. Make the game about being in the hole. I like them apples.
Right.
We're in the whole. We're gonna make a whole world here.
Right. Right.
We're gonna shift the whole game.
Right.
Everything is right here in the
It's
hole.
all
And
correct.
if you want it, you're gonna have to come
Come
down
down
in this
here to-
hole and come and get it.
Right.
For every single time we've tried to uplift ourselves to
Right.
their grand standard. Well, you know what? How about you come? You have to bend down and slap a child. I like that.
Right.
You come down, here.
Right.
This is the world now. This is who we are.
Right.
Not because we were resigned to it.
Nope.
Not because you forced us to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But because this is what we've chosen.
Right. And this is
who
we
are. This
Mm-hmm.
is who we are. This is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make our whole world down here.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
As a matter of fact, I dare you to come
yeah,
down. I dare you. Hey, I dare you to come down here.
Because at this, like I said, because at this point now, it's not a building.
Right.
It's not a movement. It's a people.
Right.
It's who we are.
Right.
And everything else comes from that.
Mm-hmm.
Make it down here,
Mm-hmm.
right here in this hole.
Right.
Like then at that point, you already gonna be out the hole at that point.
Yeah.
At the whole point, it's
It's
gonna
gonna
shift.
collapse. Yeah, it's gonna
gonna
collapse.
shift.
Right.
It's gonna shift in and of itself. You didn't have to climb. You didn't do
Right.
none of that stuff. Like I said, light effortlessly,
Mhm.
without even trying, it
In
takes away the darkness.
Darkness. Right.
It takes away the darkness. Because the darkness is the absence. That's all it is.
Mhm.
That's all it is. But the light can't do that if it's trying to compromise, with the dark.
Right.
The dark isn't anything. There's nothing to compromise with.
Right.
The light has to be what it is
Mhm.
at every instant. You right?
Mhm.
If we couldn't survive as who we are, as who we are, as who we were, right? Then I'd say that if that's as far as we can go, then that's as far as
So
we
can
go.
go. Right. Agreed.
Because if our story is that we lived and died by our sword,
Then that's what
then that's what it is.
That's definitely.
Then that's what it is.
Yeah.
Fine then.
Yep.
Because we are who we are. We won't go.
Right.
We won't go.
Right.
Not
We-
because we can't, but
right,
because we won't.
won't.
This is who we are.
And we're going to fight this. We're going to do this.
Like I said, at that
You have to
point,
get rid of every
yeah,
last one of us.
like-
every
yeah,
single
like
one
at
of
that
us.
point in
Right.
time, it's not even about fighting,
Right.
not about winning, not about none of that. It's
Right.
about being
Being-
who we are.
Mhm.
We have to make that choice.
Mhm.
We have to make it real.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Mhm.
Like I said, come down in the hole.
Right.
We ain't
Yeah.
climbing up there. We ain't doing that no more.
Right.
Fine. You don't want to let us into your colleges? We ain't going there.
Right. That,
You don't want to let us into your
You-
workplace? We ain't going there.
right. Right.
Right? We doing all this down here.
Right.
All this down here.
Hey, we talk about this often. I'm telling
Yeah,
you, we
like,
say this a lot.
If,
right.
if the economy is broken, if
Right.
the economy isn't meant to help us, we go do our own thing.
Right.
Screw the economy.
Right.
We can do our own thing. We're going back to the barter system.
Right.
I know old boy, he could fix my windows,
Right.
and I know how to cook.
Right.
So how about if you fix my windows, I'll cook you 3 meal codes, then you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the week. I got you, bro. How about that?
You're
just
right.
do what we want
whatever,
right here.
whatever it is.
We make
whatever it is.
or
Right.
whatever we decide on, we do it.
Right.
And we gonna do it wherever we are right here.
Right.
We don't need any of that.
Right.
Fine.
Right.
You want to play iffy with that stuff? You can have it.
Right.
You can have it.
Mhm.
We'll make our own.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do it right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right here.
We talk about this so much. I'm like,
That's
man,
that's what I mean.
walk away. That's what walk away,
Mm-hmm.
pull back. I'm like, look,
Do
we
it
have
right here.
right now
Mm-hmm.
with the duress,
Mm-hmm.
racism, and all of the issues that comes with that. We have engineers.
Mm-hmm.
We have, educators. We have vendors and cooks. There isn't a profession that you could think of that we're not in right now.
Mm-hmm.
With
In
everything
spite of everything.
and this is what, like I said, with the current system in place, keeping us out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We still manage to, in spite of, like you said,
Mhm.
all of this. I'm like, just pull back. Just step away. We're not gonna have our sisters out here starving, because they have children that they have to take care of. We need pampers. We're gonna be all right. We got that.
Mhm.
Okay? We got brothers, they gotta take care of their family.
Mhm.
We got you on that. We are going to do this
right here,
from here. And we're going to do this our way. And none of us are going to die in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There won't be any stealing. You know, there will be no revenge getting among us. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
We're done with it. Okay? That's what we need to do. That's what I talk about,
Mm-hmm.
because we talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
When I talk about that withdrawing, that retreating, it sounds like, running away.
Yeah.
That's you sound scared. Ain't no time to be scared now. We've been cowardly for so long. The only thing left for us to be is brave. Step away.
It has to be like
Movable. Mm-hmm.
We have to do that.
Right.
And it's. But when I see a lot of what's going on now,
mm-hmm.
And I see it's like I said, it's taking us deeper in. It's taking us further in. And I know a lot of people. But what about the police?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because we can do this,
we can
and
do
they
that.
can come.
They can still come. They can still,
yeah, right.
Let them come.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let them come.
Right.
Like I said, evil is a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You make that.
Right.
Right? Let them come. We'll deal with it.
That's right.
It our own way.
That's right.
Like I said, you can. Remember we talked about the snake and the poison. Like you can kill the snake, but it won't stop the poison.
Right.
Once you've been bit.
Right.
And we've been bit.
Right.
That poison is in our veins.
Mm-hmm.
You can kill as many snakes as you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to take away that poison. The only way you can is to create an antivenom. You have to become immune. You have to inoculate yourself to these things.
As a matter of
at that point, it doesn't matter what the snake does.
That's right.
You know that it will never be able to hinder you.
Right.
It will never be able to stop you.
Right. As a matter of fact, in your retreat, you already know what the snake is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You already know that here they come. Now, how is it that you're going to respond?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we see how we're responding. Because, again, we haven't had that shift, and we're thinking that, this is our country,
Mm-hmm.
And that we have made an investment in this. Right. And we want
blood.
That's right.
Sweat.
Tears and all right. And we want a return. And I remember posting something a while ago. I said, I remember making, investments like the voting, I make the investment,
Mm-hmm.
And I said, the only thing I really got out the deal was bragging.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I'm not making that investment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting anything out the return now. But guess what? I wasn't getting anything in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so we look at, all that we have done, right?
Yeah.
We keep thinking that since this is what we have done, that we have to keep doing it. And we don't want to admit, to our own mistakes.
Yeah.
Because I keep saying, you can learn a lot from your mistakes if you at least admit that you made it.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't want to do that. We feel like the mistakes have only come because of this outside, thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so
there's really haven't been any mistakes.
Right.
It's been
you are hurling, you are hurling, your problems, your
mm-hmm.
stones. And so we have not been able to move the way that, that we really want to move or should move. That's because of the roadblocks and the
mm-hmm.
impediments that you all have put in front of us. And so it's now, where are you going? Mm-hmm. What is it that you want?
Yeah. I mean, and we've talked a lot about
mm-hmm.
what being immovable looks like to us.
Right.
Anarchy and culture.
Right.
Being able to redefine these
mm-hmm.
things. We've talked about religion and all that stuff.
Right.
But what that looks like to us.
Mm-hmm.
And but like I said, that's what it looks like to us.
Right.
That's how I would want things to go.
Right.
I think that's the optimal, the best
Mm-hmm.
situation for us is for us to grow that way, to
Right.
become a people of true democracy,
Mm-hmm.
a people of of perspective,
Right.
and a people who don't need any of these things, a people who are who they are wherever, whenever,
Right.
But for some, for other people, it may look different,
Right.
and I would say that's the point.
Right.
That's the point,
Right.
is that there is no one
One.
answer.
How
There
many times
is
have I
no
said that?
one
Right.
way.
Right.
Like, there's no one answer,
Mm-hmm.
no one aesthetic, no one form.
Right.
But the function must
Must.
be singular.
Right.
It must be. Like I
Right.
said, there's no one way to be a person, but there's one way to treat
Treat
a
a
person.
person. Correct.
You know, you always treat a person with respect,
Mm-hmm.
with decency,
Mm-hmm.
with kindness,
Right.
with a sense of self-control and understanding.
Right.
That's non-negotiable.
Right. Correct.
That is non-negotiable.
Right.
Unless that person,
Well, of course, if
yeah,
if the person does something,
does something, then
yeah,
yeah.
of course.
But you always, that doesn't go away.
Right.
That is an axiom of life.
Right.
Right? So is this.
Right.
If we want to create whatever it is that you're creating, it must come from a place of respect, of decency, of
Mm-hmm.
self-control, and of eternity,
Mm-hmm.
of being immovable, immortal. It needs to be in what we are.
Right.
Like I say, it's
And not in the thing.
yeah, not in
Right.
the thing, not in the building. And in a lot of ways, we've been trying to, elucidate an ineffable point.
Mm-hmm.
There is no word,
Mm-hmm.
no, no paragraph, no poem or story
Right.
or anecdote that is going to be able to truly illuminate what it is that we're saying here.
Right.
It's like I said,
Because
it's intrinsic.
intrinsic. Yeah.
It's simple.
Right.
It's ineffable.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what it is.
Right.
And you have to, one, be able to reach that for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then have enough confidence in it to be able to translate it into something much more tangible.
That word, confidence. Because if you lack that, it doesn't. You're already defeated.
Mm-hmm.
If you walk in that confidence, then you're already, ahead of. You're already ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that we aren't confident in ourselves. We think that this is it. We don't think, well, if I'm giving an example.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA basketball players, right?
Yeah.
Or this sports in general, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Something flares up, right? And it's like, well, we need to start our own league. We need to start our own league. Without fail, someone is going to say, if we start our own league, we're not going to be able to pay basketball players $25 million, or whatever, how much they make, So I'm like, so you're already not understanding
where this is coming from.
Mm-hmm. Because obviously they can make the $25 million a year right now, right? So why are we here? What's the problem then? We don't have enough black coaches. We don't have to. What
you want?
What do you want? Do you want $25 million or do you want more black coaches? What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm tired already.
Mm-hmm.
Just that right there, and that's what. If we start our own schools, who's gonna, how do you know if the child can read at 3rd grade? See, already.
Mm-hmm.
See. What are you talking about?
How do you know?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Well, how can my child compete with, again?
Already lost.
You see, already. Did you say compete? Because see, we're talking about something else over here. That's what this is. There has been no shift in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The way that you think. You know, why is it that your child needs to compete again? You know, we're talking about food. We're talking about basic
Living.
living,
Mm-hmm.
not surviving, not maneuvering. You know, at least not maneuvering under
Mm-hmm.
this.
Not responding.
Yes,
Constantly.
constantly. That's what we're talking about. And you're telling me about standardized testing and, you know, you can't make $25 million a year.
Yeah.
See? So.
I don't think you know what you want. Well, they say you want your cake and to
Mhm.
be able to eat it too, but you don't want to have to go through the process,
Right.
the legwork of being able to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I say you want to skip a step,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and everything needs to happen in our time.
Right.
It needs to happen right now. We need to do it right now.
Well, how are you talking about, retreating and having your own schools and, just stepping away and you don't have any money?
Mm.
Well, maybe you didn't hear us the first time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because when you're talking about building relationships, that kind of currency, you can't put that on paper anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and all of the material is here because
It's us.
it's us.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's just a total shift in perspective. That dynamic needs to change. And like I said, for us, it may look a certain way. And for others, I mean, I would like to know how it looks for you.
Yeah.
More so than anything else, because if
I mean, because for me, this is what it is.
Right.
If you don't think so,
yeah, please, yes,
why
please,
not?
yes, let us know definitely. Because the thing is that, like we've mentioned, everything that's out there right now, that is out there right now, has already been out there.
Mm.
You have to learn how to, you can't blame Donald Trump. He only paid $750 in taxes, even though he's a billionaire, whatever he claims. You can't blame him. You look at the tax loopholes, and are you serious? Are you serious?
Mm.
See, you're not serious.
So you're saying you don't want a man of integrity to be,
Well, no.
There's always going to be a shortcut. The point is did you take the one?
Right.
And he took the shortcut.
Right. He took the absolute shortest cut.
And lied to you about it.
And then and now you're gonna try to teach me, I can teach you a class on how to do it. First of all, you know what,
The point
is see.
The economy's broken because people are doing that.
That's where I say, duh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
the point is to not
do that, right? That. I can teach you strategies. You know what? Go ahead. Go ahead. Just go away.
Mm.
But that's what I'm, again.
You're not about the business.
No. Mm. But you want to look good, feel good. I'm rich, and I'm not even rich. I have nice things. I'm better off. I'm better off than you, and that's because I did financial literacy and stuff like that. Just so again,
these things are, like I said, to us, they are axiomatic.
Mm-hmm.
They are what is.
Right.
And
it's now it's the moving, because I think again, people hear us and they're like, man, that's really good.
Mm.
But I'm like, well, what is that? What's the
Mm-hmm.
And then you're telling me, and I'm just looking like,
I don't think you really heard.
I don't think you really understand. Maybe you heard us, but you weren't really listening. Or maybe again, we said something and it triggered such a response that you automatically just go to
Mhm.
No, this is not going to work. And it takes too much time. I'm like, you want,
Like I said,
you tell me you go to a job.
what's the point of doing something? It's like I forget what it's called, but I know um there's this forget exactly what it's called. But like if you offer someone like a discount,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like a small, almost innoticeable discount,
Mm-hmm.
they won't ever take it.
Right.
Right? It has to be this. It has to be a big, crazy discount. I know that if you take that one discount every single time, then that's also saving money.
Right.
That's also doing a thing,
Mm-hmm.
But you're always looking for the big,
Right.
grandiose deal
Right.
instead of taking
The
the deal
small.
that's there,
Mm-hmm.
that the feasible deal
Mm-hmm.
where everybody could get something out of
Well, my line of thinking when it comes to stuff like that is that because I've had people to ask me often, well, give us solutions or give us whatever, and so then I offer them, and and then you're like, oh no, we can't do that or something, right?
it.
And I'm like, well, the thing is that you wanted something so grand, so outlandish, because you really weren't about doing it anyway. You weren't about doing it anyway.
It doesn't seem real unless
Right.
it is.
Right.
And I just think about that the part of what is this Dune Chapter House that
Okay.
we read on here.
Mm-hmm.
Where Great Animacha was like, like damn my descendants, what is it going to do for me
Right.
right here, right now?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if you aren't able to personally profit from it,
Mm-hmm.
then it doesn't seem worth doing.
Right. And we look at the state of the world today.
And that's how we got here.
Yeah.
Everyone is trying to do it in their time.
Right.
Trying to do it right here,
Mm-hmm.
right now. And so we're talking about, for us, we're talking about shifts in people.
Right.
And like cultural perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
and the zeitgeist.
Right.
That's not something that's just going to happen now. But
It just,
you're going to have
right.
to you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to be it
Right.
now. And it's not going to become truly what it is
Mm-hmm.
until it is able to, until it has the force of time with it.
Right.
So you're going to have to do it, even though it's not going to directly benefit you in the way that you may want it to right now.
But you tell me that you're your ancestors, right? This is what you say, right? That look at what your ancestors
Mm-hmm.
did. They did it for themselves, yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But they were doing it for those to come. Right?
They were doing it so you wouldn't have to. Right?
Yes.
It's
and here we are.
That,
right.
Y'all always tell me.
That's right.
Right? We do the hard work so our descendants don't have to. Our
right.
kids don't have to.
Right.
Right? But, like I said, you get so caught up in the momentum
mm-hmm.
of it that, especially with this right now, you get so caught up in the momentum, you think you're going somewhere. You think that's what it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem like anything unless it is this giant, grandiose, okay, here's my plan.
Right.
I'm going to sneak into the base.
Right.
And I'm going to steal a drone.
right.
And start, like stuff like that. All type of ridiculous,
right.
I'm going to take over the ship.
Right.
And I'm going to do this and,
You don't even have to do that.
all
right.
That stuff.
right.
It doesn't seem real.
Right.
Because, what we're dealing with, it feels like such a giant colossus.
Right.
And it feels like we're going to need to call down the hammer of God.
Right.
We're going to call down Mjolnir.
Right.
Some lightning. We need some. We need some of that.
Right.
We need some divine intervention type stuff. Some grand thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we say, well, no, it's not that.
Right.
It's this.
Right.
It's
you.
It's this. It's you. It's much more personal. And what we're dealing with is not a colossus.
It's not
some giant thing. It just feels that way. Why? Because it carries the weight of time.
Right.
Because it's been that way for so long.
Right.
And it's like, well, how can it not be?
Yeah. We've been dealing with this for 200, 300, whatever.
In the times we're dealing with now, it's easy for one person to step up and take the reins and to do that thing. to completely shift
Mm-hmm.
the conversation.
Right.
It's easy for that, especially right now where
Right.
everybody's ears are up and there's so many problems.
Mm-hmm.
For one person to come in and just say the right things,
Right.
and be the right person,
Mm-hmm.
it could shift all of that, right? But as long as you are dependent on that,
Mm-hmm.
on someone else to be able to have that conversation for you, to be able to take that away from you,
Right.
then you're not dealing with it.
Right.
You're not solving it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we want our particular cultural ideas to have the weight of time with them,
Right.
to seem like a colossus,
Mm-hmm.
to seem like this is who we are,
Mm-hmm.
to make what we were seem completely foreign and alien.
Right.
Like, how could we ever have done that? How could we have ever been those people?
Right.
Right? That's what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that for us, that's the only way something can become truly immortal. If you do it and you
Right.
keep doing it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's never going to be that way if you never do it.
Right.
You never do it.
Right.
And that's why we're doing a podcast. That's why
Right.
we're doing this, because it has to be more than us.
Right. And I know
you gotta
and like I said, I
you gotta do it. You gotta
right.
do it.
You have to. You just.
You
have to do it.
And like we said, it's not about giant, grandiose things.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, it's not even about this.
Right.
Not even about anarchy and stuff.
Right.
It's just about you being able to do what it is that you want to do, what you feel is necessary for you to be able to do it for you and your own, for where you are.
Right.
That right there.
Mm-hmm.
Being and doing that and being uncompromising. Doing that. Like I said, I remember, in middle school, like in the 7th grade and stuff, I remember talking to one of our teachers, and it was like, well, how, because, I was very outspoken as a student. And like, well, how you ever think you're going to be able to get a job and stuff like that if you're not willing to compromise just a bit, if you're not willing to do that? I said, I don't know. That stuff is going to come in its own time. I do it my own way.
That's right.
And then remember my teacher being like, well, you're saying that now, but when you're in it, when you're desperate,
right,
when you actually are going to need to pay your bills to do this, you're going to compromise. And I said that I'm more than willing, to sink in my own ship than to live in yours.
That's right.
If I go down in this ship, then I go down in this ship.
That's right.
That's what it is. But it's mine.
Right.
It's my ship.
Right.
And I'm going down with it. It's mine. And if I can't survive in your world with it, then I know I'm just going to have to make my own.
Right.
That's what I mean by uncompromising.
And that's why they got called for that parent conference as usual, which is not a problem for me, right?
That's why all of these things. That's what I mean.
Right.
I'm not trying to say you got to be like me.
No.
None of us have the answers. All I'm just saying is that you need to be able to find that thing. You need to know what it is for you. Right? Because I don't know what your particular problem is.
Right.
But you do. And whatever it is, you need to be willing to sink in your own ship.
Yep.
We need to go our way and do it forever.
Right.
And do it like it carries that weight as much and a greater weight than this can possibly carry.
Right. And
that's what we need to do.
For me, when I decide to step away and homeschool and do those things, and I remember telling you, and I have mentioned many times, because it was like, well, how am I going to do this? I still have bills and everything. And I remember telling you this, I think, for Ted, all this, but I'm like, my needs are very simple here. Coffee. I can do coffee. I would be able to do this. That was it. And yes, there was a shift in my income that just we ate every day. And I'm like, man, bills still be, we were step away. And I was even thinking, I was making other little moves to make sure, because I'm not doing this anymore. The path that I walked, yes, it was mine, but it was set up for me. Okay? And so I had to make my decisions, and I knew, I knew what I wanted for my children, and so I say all the time, whatever the blows are, I am willing to take them.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I have no problem taking them. So I am going to step back, and I am going to do this, and I am going to do this with a candle. I'm about to say something,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do it with a candle, because that's what I
Mm-hmm.
need to do. And so when I hear you speak, Fatia, my own daughter, when I hear, I'm like, see, you can't tell me. And I'm like, it's those small things,
Devil's in the details.
that's it. What is it that you do? What you can.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you can. In regards to like the homeschool, you may not be able to, homeschool the whole day or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the case may be,
But do what you can.
but do what you can.
And I think in conclusion,
Right.
well, this really hasn't been about anything in particular. There's no one topic, so there's really no in conclusion bit, no
Right.
one thing to summarize.
Mhm.
It's more over just like we said. We feel like we've said everything that needs to be said. We feel like we've touched on everything that we wanted to touch on.
Mhm.
Now it's more of just a general discussion of everything else.
Right. Now it's
So,
decision time. The state of affairs. You see what's going on.
Mhm.
What do you envision now?
Mhm.
You see it. And so we are at this point, where decisions are going to have to be made, and you are going to have to make those decisions for you
Mhm.
and for your family or whatever, whatever the case may be. And so maybe you have been scared. Fear is,
Well, like I said, you may not call it that. It may not be
Right.
that for you.
Right.
But whatever it is,
Mhm.
whatever it is that has been stopping you or hindering you from making that decision,
Mhm.
as sooner or later you're going to have to make it. You are going to have to make it.
Mhm. It's there. It's there for you to make. It's
not
there.
going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, just looking at what's happening.
Yeah,
and and my thing is that that something is wrong. You may not be able to articulate it or whatever, but that something is wrong. And that how, we have been responding. That's not
Mm-hmm.
that's not it. It's not it. So what is it that you really, should do, to really come out?
Yeah,
of this?
and if it's not this,
Right.
like how we talked about anarchy, and if it's not this, then what is it?
Yes, please let us know.
we get that a lot.
Yeah.
About if it's not this,
Right. If it's
then
not
what
the
is
things
it?
that we've discussed, then
Yeah.
let us know.
But yeah, if any comments, concerns, questions, whatever, let us please.
Please tell us.
Yeah. And so thank you for listening.
Thank you.